Alright, hello there. Back to drawing, which means static image. I've not yet set up any of the resources that would allow me to become a bouncing PNG. So, I am going to be doing some basic speed sketching right now. This is the practice technique that I suppose I picked up from Drawfee. This is what they said to do, is draw poses as quickly as you can, and then after you've done, I don't know, a few poses, as many as you want to get through, then you go back and you add detail into the poses. So you sketch, and then you, what was it? It was drawing from reference and drawing from imagination, or something to that effect. And from the times that I've done some speed sketching, I have a small amount of technique to it, where I understand how to draw quickly. So I've got a whole bunch of character poses lined out in front of me that unfortunately can't be seen because they are part of physical media that I have in front of me. My cat's scratching his post right now. That might be picking up on the microphone. It is incredibly loud. Alright. But I'm just going to start sketching right now. So. Alright. I don't have timing for any of this, so. Oh, here's my cat now. So the technique that I sort of picked up was to make bodies out of geometric shapes. Make the torso out of a diamond, and then you can get the waist out of another diamond, sort of like this. Right. And then the arms can be very long triangles where they meet at the elbow joint. My cat is walking around on top of my desk right now, so it's very hard for me to focus on things right now. And then a hand there. And then this hand is going up. Oh, my goodness. He treats this place like a jungle gym. This hand is going up. Let's see. I just want to get the angles right, so it's actually just sort of straight up, like this. And then the other arm goes behind the head to meet with the other hand here. Like this. And then the legs are fairly straight down. Sort of like this, and the feet are angled forwards like this. Same thing on the other side. So this is the general strategy that I have for quickly sketching things. There's probably better ways to do it, but this is what I've picked up. So, next one. Head, slight angle. And the neck comes down like this. And torso becomes a diamond. Waist, another diamond. But when I was trying to do this style, it doesn't work very well for male proportions, I've discovered. And there are a couple of male figures on the reference that I'm using, which is Horikoshi, or not Horikoshi, who is it? Kuroboshi. Kuroboshi's art book. But all of the characters that he draws are very thin, so there's not too much issue. Let's see, the arms actually come down and meet lower than what I had drawn. Around here. There we go. Another one like this. Alright, and the legs are spread. They have a wide stance. And the legs are straight through, so no real need to change the angle. I also realized that this is at a ever so slight slant, and the feet are pointing straight forwards. Sort of like this. Alright, the next one's a bit more complicated, so... Let's see, so the face is... Let's see. I think drawing a visual line for the face is actually going to be necessary for this one. Looking slightly up, like this. Alright, her neck is covered by a scarf in the image, but I will ignore that, and her body is turned at a fairly extreme angle, so I'm going to have to improvise. So this is the shoulder area here. Let's see. And the back goes like this. Right, I should be doing shorter lines as well. So that's where the hips are, and this is where the waist is. Also, a lot of the lower portion of the body is covered by a skirt, so it's very difficult to determine where everything is specifically, but I can infer based on various details. The leg is sort of like this, and the foot is positioned like that, and the other leg follows this one fairly closely, but the calf is here like this, and the foot is pointing downwards. As for arms, this one is going straight back. I also shouldn't make them that wide. Narrow the arms. Taper to a point where the elbow meets. And then continue on to the point of the hand. Alright, and the other arm. So that comes out from behind the other side of the body. And it's going straight up, fairly similar to the first drawing. And it is partially obscured behind the head, like this. Actually, no, it's completely obscured behind the head, because the hair is a bit further out. Okay. And the line of the chest comes down the center here like this. So if I were to draw a proper waistline, it would be around there. Alright, next sketch. Another fairly simple one with a bit of a curveball when it comes to the leg. It's frontwards facing. Let's see. I guess this person will just have a small head. This is also a very short person as well. So I suppose it works that they are proportionally short compared to the other sketches that I've done. Right. And arms just straight down and then back behind the body on both sides. Like that. No. And this leg also comes straight down, but angled at such a degree that it looks like it's broken almost. Like she is in the process of slipping and twisting an ankle. The foot comes out like this. Alright, so the other leg goes straight down to the knee, but then it goes back like this. I think that sort of works with perspective. Have I finally done something correct with foreshortening? Who knows? Alright, next pose. I'm also going in reverse order from left to right on the canvas when they are arranged from right to left on the page itself. Okay. This one's another slightly more complicated pose. It's what is this, 2/3 angle? Alright, so neck there. Let's see, center line of the face is around here. The line of the eyes is around there. Okay, so the further away object is shorter, so that shoulder will be shorter and this shoulder will be longer and also angled slightly more. And if I do the same thing and we see the cross section of the arm, I wonder, I'm actually going to swap to a larger brush size so that my sketches have more volume to them. Sort of like this. Alright, and then if I follow the body line down like this, we reach the waist once more. Alright, this is a male figure, so the hips are less pronounced. So I suppose it'll be more straight down, but there'll still be indent here around the waist. Right, sort of like this. Let's see, this arm is almost completely hidden. All you see is a hand coming out here. Like this. And then this arm comes, let's see, back and down. So, slightly lower angle. And then this hand is in the pocket. Alright, so, as for leg positioning, again, fairly standard. And this leg's just coming straight down. Foot is angled like this. This leg is slightly kicked out. Let's see. How do I make this work properly? Because it just looks like he's extending the leg to the side. So how do I look like his torso is turned to this degree? That is the center line of his body there. I think I want the leg coming out from behind. Let's see, what does that look like on the drawing itself? I think it is some element of that leg being partially behind. I also think I need to de-emphasize this side of the body. I made things look too symmetrical. That might be it. This looks a bit more accurate. I made that foot far too large. Oh well. Nothing to be done about it now. Okay, last one. He's going over the spine of the book. So I think I will actually skip this middle one and go straight to the next one, which is basically the same pose I just drew, but just facing the other direction into a slightly less extreme angle. Alright. Let's see. We're looking slightly down from above. And once again, it's at an ever so slight angle. Much subtler slope than last time. Let's see. I'm going to stop trying to represent things with diamonds, because that's not been very useful in the past few where their bodies are at slight angles. I think I need to be using arcs more, following the line of the body. So that's around where the waist is. And there's the hips. And the arms are doing fairly similar to what they were in the previous one, where they are pointed back and then forwards again, being in the pockets of this person. Alright, but on this side, the arm is slightly more visible. Because if I continue to draw this leg, the pocket is slightly more visible. There we go. Alright, and this, okay. So the hips are too high up. This leg here, let's see. So that one, that side doesn't curve in. It curves like this. And then knee is here. I think I made him slightly too off balance. That's fine. I'm nearing the bottom of the page. And this leg is kicked back, so it's hidden behind the front leg. And the center line of the chest just follows through here. Alright. Next character. Okay, so this one's quite a bit different. They are mid-jump. And also turned at an angle. So let's try and get that. See, the face is this sort of angle here. And sort of looking almost neutral, but slightly downwards turned expression. Neck. Okay. Alright, so the shoulder is just barely facing, so I'm going to make this as narrow a cross-section as possible. And this drawing is going to have a fair amount of overlap on it, because their hands are covering a lot of their torso. Right, so this arm is coming down like this in front of the body, and then up at an angle. It just looks like a chicken leg. That's not very appealing. Okay, so, and this arm is hidden by itself because it also comes back up like this. Alright. I think I've made that arm too short. I think that's my problem. Ah, I think I see why this is not visually congruent. If I do this, I think that looks a bit better. Yeah, because that makes it look like that is the portion in front of this portion. Okay. Alright, and once again, lower half of the body is being concealed by a skirt. But if I were to just draw the main structures that I can see, this is where the thighs are, and then this leg is kicked back with the shoe looking like that. And for the other leg, this knee is slightly closer. Maybe if I push this, actually, you know what? I messed up by making the center of the waist too large. Their legs were too far apart to begin with. But this leg vanishes behind that leg, and you just see a foot here. Alright, that wasn't too bad. So I think I need to focus on making the hips narrower at this point. Okay, this is... sort of a very straightforward pose. Well, I suppose it is slightly complicated by the fact that they're wearing very baggy clothes, so it's kind of difficult for me to judge proportions entirely accurately. So, back like this. Face is very straight. Just across, looking straight towards camera. Let's see. Flat shoulders. Let's see. The angle isn't extreme enough that I should have to do cross-section on the arms. And I can also go back to diamond torso since it's straight forwards. There we go, like this. And the legs are both slightly splayed out to the sides, very wide stance. Although in the image it looks like they're sort of falling backwards. Let's see, both of the arms are pointed straight forwards in front of the body. Once I realize I've just made portions of the body too small, I just continue to scribble along the lines that I would have taken. Yeah. Because of Fukei's art style, all of the limbs are extremely thin, so, like, cut this in half and that's what the thigh actually looks like. Let's see. There's no real deviation in the legs as well. The feet are extremely straightforwards. There we go. I think I need to do something about those arms. They don't look quite right, although this is just supposed to be speed sketching, but I would also like it to be, you know, learning the right things. Let's see. So the elbow is around here, in this case. But the arms aren't bent at all, really. They are stock straight. They're also covered in very baggy sleeves, so it's hard to actually determine what's happening with the arms, but that's roughly what it looks like. I feel like there's not much I can do given that it's all on one layer. Perhaps if I erase the scribbles on the interior here. Who knows? Who knows? Alright, next one. I've only got 3 more now at this pace. Let's see. This one's fairly similar to the one that I skipped over, actually, so that's good. See, the face is sort of at this angle here. Let's see. I believe if I want to be extremely accurate, this arm would have a very thin cross section on it. Okay, But also, the torso is extremely curved. Sort of like this. Let's see. Reaches more of a sharp point, actually. Okay, but the waist is actually fairly straight in relation to the rest of their body. Let's see. I'm gonna do this sort of thing, I think, actually. Okay. But as for the arms, they're just stock standard outstretched running in the wind anime style arms. And since this one's further away from the point of view, it should be shorter. I'm fairly certain on that. Sort of makes sense. Okay, back to legs. Okay. I have the angle of this leg off. It's actually going straight down. No awkward angles about it. This leg doesn't look right. There is something very specifically off about it. It's mainly the proportions, I think. Also the hips. I've drawn the hips very oddly. I think I'm actually just going to redo this entire portion by the hips. Okay, so here is the... No, that's not the line of the hips. That's the line of the hips there. Sort of like this. So then if I have the thigh here, right, that's a bit better, it feels like. Yes. And then the shoe straight towards the observer. And then this leg. Okay. I need to remember perspective puts the thigh behind that one. And the knee is kicked back. like this. And then you can see the base of the shoe from behind that leg, like that. Alright. Only 2 more to go. Hopefully I have room for this. Alright, and then once I have finished these sketches, I'm going to do a surprise fan art for one of my mutuals on Twitter and select a pose and do a quick color over for them. I already have one selected. Let's see. Okay, this one is very intense angle, so pure arm cross section here then. Alright, and once again, this is a male figure in very baggy clothing, so fairly difficult to draw. Let's see, so the hip is around here. Yeah, that looks about right. And if I were to draw in the center line of the chest, I should actually start in the center first off. It's around this. Alright. We have one leg. That's the back leg, so first we have this leg in the front. Okay, that actually represents the knee a bit better, having the back curved like that and the front remain straight. But the knee is actually sort of here. So let's see, I'm actually just going, since this is the pose that I think I want to use, I'm actually going to move it up a little bit so that I actually have room at the base. Let's see. Thought I saw something change. It was just a visual illusion. Okay. And then the shoe is sort of pointing at this angle here, like that. And as for this leg, let me just get rid of the errant line that shouldn't be showing through. Okay. Alright, and this is... Oh, hello, Ray. Yes, that sounds like a good idea. Welcome to the stream. I noticed that Aqua and I started streaming at exactly the same time, so I'm presuming you're in her chat as well, or in their chat as well, rather, sorry. see. Okay, so this arm is coming towards the screen. It's not actually just going down, so... Tricky perspective on that one, then. Not something that I've had to deal with too much up until now. Alright, well, elbow is around here. I suppose I'll just have the arm... I think I need to actually have this at a slightly more high angle. Holding down Control Z on my tablet is a lot slower than when I do it on the keyboard. Okay. Okay, this is looking a bit more like it's coming straight forwards. And then elbow is here, but it keeps going up around the same angle. Where it meets the wrist. Just my chat? Okay. Yes, I didn't actually catch what Aqua was doing, so I assume, judging by that statement, that it's not something calm. I need to move the elbow a bit further back on the arm. I've just realized something. I'm going to take a little bit of a break from drawing right now. Let's see. I'm going to be moving screens around a little bit, so don't worry too much. Let's see. Here we are. Because I integrated an on-screen chat box, but I didn't put it on... What is it? I didn't put it on this layer. So there we go. I have an on-screen chat box that may or may not work. Here, let me just type a test message in here. Yeah, alright, I have an on-screen chat box now. I'm almost a professional streamer or something. Okay, back to art. So this arm is moving away from the viewer and is very foreshortened. I think I need to make it much smaller in that case. Let's see, what angle? Like this. Okay, maybe I won't use this pose for the finished drawing, because that looks very off-model. Alright, last sketch then. welcome back, cat. Sebastian has reappeared, and hopefully he'll just calmly sit in his bed instead of wandering around my desk. The exact area of my screen that I need to see is being covered up. I can move things. Okay, it looks like he will settle down. There we go. Okay, once again, body is angled, cross-section of arm. I find that representing portions of the body with diamonds is very helpful for me. It should probably be with circles, but I find edges a lot easier to work with. And these arms are simply raised in the air. As such. Okay. The overall body is moving in this direction. So like this. Let's see. So I mentioned this earlier in the stream, but I don't think that you were here at that point in time, Ray, since you only started talking fairly recently, but I am working off of Kuroboshi's art book, one of them at least, because I purchased it, and I would like to use it practically, because it's an interesting thing to do. So I am just doing sketches of characters out of that art book. I opened to a page that had a full lineup of characters, so I figured that it was a pretty perfect chance to just draw out the outlines for all of them. Let's see, that arm should be shorter because it's further away. Kuroboshi has some very specific things that he does with his art. A lot of the characters have very flat hips, I am noticing. So there's not much differentiation between where the torsos and the hips are. Which caused my usual style of drawing torsos like a pair of diamonds like this. So if this was the top of the torso, then this would be the bottom of the torso. But Kuroboshi has fairly flattened out the curve there. So I've had to change my quick sketch style to match accordingly. Not that I had too much of a style to begin with, but I still had to adapt a little bit. I think the biggest thing this is teaching me is I'm learning a lot about perspective and legs. Because a lot of these characters have legs that cover them, or cover each other rather. It's a fairly good lesson in draw only what you have to. because you can just cover a lot of it. And always remember the position of something when it's behind another object. Let's see. Alright. There we go. That's all of the sketches that I was going to do for today. Then you can see the points in which I sort of had to change styles a little bit. But there we go. So, now I just need to pick one of these and render it out a little bit more. Let's see. I'd like to go with one of the better realized ones. I feel like... Let's see. This one is pretty good here. This one's also decent. This one's fine. This one's also fine. The rest of them are a bit too mangled for me to work with all that well. So it's picking out of these 4. Let's see. I think I want to go with 1 in this case. It's sort of the least active one. It was the one my eyes went to first. So I'm gonna bring this over to a new canvas in that case. Alright, there we go. And now I'm gonna want to enlarge this. I don't really mind about losing detail since it's just a rough sketch. There we go. Alright, and now as for who I want to, let's see, play this character, I had the thought, because this was someone that I was considering sketching when I was doing my offline sketches a couple of days ago when my internet wasn't good enough to stream. But one of my more recent followers, but who has been interacting with me a fair bit, is Zard Roka. Let's see, I'm just trying to find his profile on Twitter so that I can get a reference image, which I admittedly probably should have done beforehand, but I didn't think to. Where is he? There you are. Yes, I don't remember what specifically he followed me for. He may also not have... Okay. A detailed... Let's see. Okay, he has a couple. I'm trying to find the one that would be easiest to work off of. The one that has the most detail is unfortunately shaded, or not shaded, but it is in shadow. Oh, I'll just work off of it anyways. Best I can do. Alright, here we go. Let's bring this over to the canvas. Oh, that's a good size. I'm going to shrink it down a little bit though. It's a bit too unwieldy, and I'd like to have more of it in view than if possible. Alright. And the pose works fairly well, since it's a fairly relaxed hands in pocket. Okay. Where did my mouse cursor go? There it is. Alright, new layer, drop the opacity of this, so I don't have to be too bothered by the background. Okay, so first things first, let's solidify this head shape. Yes, Zard is a premier example of I don't typically follow for follow, but he fairly frequently started liking my posts, so I figured I may as well follow him back since he was being nice and interacting with me. Alright, very thick eyebrows. They're shaped. It's a fairly old school shape, actually. I assume he is a fan of the classics. He is a dinosaur VTuber after all, so I guess he would be. Okay, let's actually zoom in on the face so that I can get a bit more detailed with the drawing. Okay. I was just starting to color in the eyebrows in black, but I figure I may as well just fill color a fair amount of this. Since I'm hoping fill color works right now. It worked last time, after I ended the stream and did some touch-ups on Aqua's drawing. I messed around with a couple of things and fill tool was working. Okay. But I'm going to want to get rid of the sketch first. But fill tool is working right now, so that's good. Okay, so I've got eyebrows, but I didn't do eyes at all. Okay, so let's see. Once again, very angled eyes. He has a very sharp design. Let's see, that looks about right. Oh, but I'm being a bit too sketchy. I was going to polish this a bit more. I want to cover up these lines then. I suppose this is the first time that I am doing these portions. I'm just going to mirror on the other side. But it is at a slight angle. I wonder, is this eye too far away from the center of the face? Well, let's see. Oh, and his mouth looks very interesting. I quite like it. It's got very jagged openings like this. Sort of as if when he opens it, I'm presuming it opens fairly wide. And if I do the same thing over here, just trying to match the perspective, I suppose. Let's see, what does this look like if I get rid of the sketch lines? Bad. It looks bad, I can tell already. But just to be sure. Yes. Yes, I think I do want to move that eye slightly closer to the center. Like this. There we go. I keep looking down at my reference book as if he's there, but he's on the canvas just slightly further away. Ah, yes, and something that I have actually been doing more recently is adding in that to give a little impression of the eye itself. Okay, so if I have this now the same distance, like this. Okay, I think I actually have it somewhat correct on this aspect. Let's see, I think actually I'm going to take a look at the image that this is drawn from and see where the eyes are put on that, because that might give me a bit more guidance. Okay. I'm going to get rid of both of those eyes. I'm going to draw the hair in, because I think that'll give me a better guideline for what I'm working with. So. Very spiky hair. See, and it looks like... Let's see. I may be wrong, but it looks like he has shaved sides. Can't quite tell. Okay. So, my big issue here is that I am sketching on a layer that I thought I was going to be using for line art, because my original sketch was just the body outline, so I'm now having to go through and erase some of the details I left in. Okay, but that doesn't look half bad. Could be better, but I'm no professional. And those eyebrows are going to need to be longer as well. Okay. And now the dinosaur mouth ahoge. There we go. Sort of that effect. Alright, and then continuing around. Spiky hair. It's very interesting. The top of his head sort of flattens out because the hair doesn't spike up, it spikes to the sides. Alright, and I also need to catch up with what's happening on the Draw Friends Discord group chat. As I have been a bit preoccupied. I noticed there were a fair few messages before I started the stream. I don't know what the back of his head looks like. His jawline is... let's see, it's got diamond sort of scale patterns on it. I'm going to add those in. Anything I can do to avoid drawing the face for a little while longer. Alright. Let's see. For Saturday, okay. I think my pen tip's starting to wear down. I haven't been using it for very long, but it's starting to make scratching noises. All right. Did I not say Sunday? Did I say Saturday? Or did you just repeat it for emphasis? Okay, I'm not entirely sure how this is going to look. I need to represent his face scales somehow, so I think if I do this, and I reduce the size of the eraser by a large amount, so that I can just get some interior details cleared out. Okay, the undo button was doing something, it's just that it was doing very small amounts of something. I said Saturday? Okay. That makes sense. I did not get too much sleep last night. I woke up extra early and I'm not entirely sure why. So I wasn't planning on going too long with this stream for that reason, since this is once again a fairly late night for me. Alright, so finally onto the eyes. Let me just go over here and directly that's what they look like. That is the shape of them. Now if I do that with a smaller brush, okay, so they're very teardrop shaped, and the iris inhabits the very center. Sort of like this, and then there are the indents for the eyes there. Okay. So I'm going to attempt to mimic the teardrop shape. I think I was going a bit too angular. I think the angle is off. But other than that, I feel like the shape is just about correct. A bit wider, I feel. Okay, and then for this one, if I do this, the eye isn't in the center, so it doesn't look like he's I'm running into the issue that he is looking very cross-eyed. So I think I need to pull the pupil and iris back a little bit. Or like here. I think I make his eyes a bit more gungy-muddy than what he has in his official art. So sort of like this. Eyes are very difficult. Alright, so I'm going to start from the iris outwards, so that's where they will be. Now if I construct an eye around that, maybe this working backwards approach isn't going to go so well. I had hopes. Nope. That looks very unusual. Probably doesn't help that the eyes looked very different from each other. They were not the same shape. So what if I focus on making them the same shape a bit more then? Okay, let me take a look at proper face again. Okay. Make the pupils bigger. Big pupils. And have the eyes cut off the extreme parts of them. Sort of like this. And then if I erase the excess, am I left with something that looks passable? I'm left with someone that looks sort of like they're squinting, but I haven't done it with the other eye yet, so I'm not entirely certain yet. Okay. This looks like it might potentially be what I was looking for. It's closer than what I've had so far. I'd say it works well enough that I can move forwards with it. And he also had a bit of an upturn at the end of his pupils as well, or at the end of his eyelashes. Ah, yes, and the ever important eye bone structure. Okay, and now I can zoom out because I'm not being detail-oriented anymore. And he has an unbelievably puffy... what is this? Collar. So... that's where the neck is. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to create a layer. No, I can't I can't render out that much detail. It's just going to be a very rough clothes sketch. I'm just going to do hard line sketching. Make something look like it's big and puffy and spiky. Okay, so that portion of the neck is going to be visible. That portion of the neck is going to be visible. Okay. Erase the hidden parts. Like so. Okay. Just randomly putting spikes into this is working reasonably well. There's probably a way to represent it better, but what I've got now, it just about works. Okay. And then I can have his shoulder come out here. Line of the chest. Okay. Let's see. So his clothes are so bulky, and it's going to be fairly difficult to just glue on all of the chunks. I hope you won't mind if I simplify the clothing too much, because there's a lot of details that it's very hard to make art out of. Okay. Well, I can at the very least make the edges less round. Okay, well, let's see. The jacket puffs a lot around the elbow. Okay, and I can just have the outlines of hands that are going into pockets. Because he does no, he doesn't actually have pockets. Well, he might. I'm not entirely sure what this portion is. It looks like it could be a pocket. The biggest thing about this is trying not to make the clothes look flat. So if I get rid of that inner elbow, it still visually works. So the elbow is there. And the hand goes into the pocket. Alright. And then, let's see. His waist does narrow a bit because it's cinched in with belts. So I'm going to want to do that. And then, let's see. So that portion of the jacket goes over. It meets up like this. Very simplified version of these clothes. Okay. It's kind of... I'm not certain whether or not this portion of his clothes is a shirt underneath the jacket, or if it's just a lower layer of the jacket. Okay. I've also been thinking that I am using the default brush a bit too much, and I'd like to try out some of the other ones. So perhaps I'll do that in a different stream. Probably not this one though, since I've already committed to what I'm doing. Alright. I'll just move on to the trousers now. See, very baggy, so the center line for the legs comes down a lot lower. Okay, but the legs become a lot more interesting. So right around here, we have where the pants cinch and then come out. At a wider angle. I think they come out like this. Okay. I need to remember to make these lines a lot more solid than I am. Alright. I'm just going to clean up the sketchy marks that I made so that Fill Bucket can do its job. Alright. Low down baggy pants. for this leg. Once again, I had the exact opposite issue when I was drawing with my mouse, and that I wouldn't sketch. But now that I am supposed to be drawing with firmer lines, I am only sketching. It's just too easy to sketch, I suppose. Then. Moving on to the more interesting aspect, the dino feet. Alright, so from here, okay, claws are part of toes, so I need to draw the feet accordingly. Well, fortunately I only have to draw one leg, because the other one is safely sequestered behind the first leg. Definitely doesn't look great, but that's fine. Okay, now for the tail. All right, and then a little bit of it peeks through here, and then continues on. Oh. There, coming out like this. Oh, hello. Welcome, Lulu. I am doing fairly well. I just finished, or not just finished, but the first part of my stream I was working on quickly drawing a number of rough sketches for poses. Here we have the poses that I was working on. I got them out of Kuroboshi's art book, and I just did quick sketches of these. And I took the bottom left one here to render out into one of my mutuals. And I'm just about finished with that. I lost a couple of the details because his jacket is very detailed, very intricately patterned, but I am just doing a rough today, so I'm not planning on going into very large amounts of detail on this. Okay, I think that's good. Okay, let me just get rid of this sketch, because I don't necessarily need that anymore. I can just add in a couple more details, like clothing folds. So yeah, some interior lines around these folds in his pants. Give him the drawstrings. Clarify these pockets a bit better. Alright, and now I can just bring in the fill bucket and set that to work. Let's add a bit more volume here. Make this jacket look a bit more puffy. Yes, fill bucket's working. Like I was saying during my previous stream where it wasn't working, I'm sure it was just a temporary issue that needed turning off and on again. Oh, I need to close my lines first. Let's set that to maximum. Okay, well. I guess there's no substitute for doing your work. Alright, let's close some lines. I think I'm actually running into an issue where it doesn't need to close as many lines. Oh, that's not the right color. Yes, I can finish drawing much more quickly now because fill bucket exists. There we go. Okay, and let's see, his eyes are a very nice shade of green. Let's try and focus in on a better color of green to pick up. There we go. Interesting. I guess the shade doesn't transfer quite as well to a larger surface area. Alright. And then skin tone, I can grab that, and I'll just erase what's inside the eye area as well. I just have a very annoyingly difficult time remembering where the color picker is. Alright, that's not the right color. Alright. Grab from there. How about that? It's still very nearly the same color as the hair. I suppose I just grabbed the lightest shade I can find, because this is a hand-drawn image on paper with a shadow on it, so it's going to be messing with the colors a fair amount. Maybe I need to just grab a skin color. That doesn't look good. That one? This is difficult. Well, I think that's probably as good as I'm going to get. Time to clear out the insides of the eyes then. Should probably be doing this on its own layer. That's fine. I can just be careful. This is the only real detail-oriented stuff that I'm going to have to do with this. I'll survive. There we go. It's not a perfect job, but again, this is for speed, not quality necessarily. I'm also not entirely sure what those green things are. They look like they're possibly Frankenstein bolts or some equivalent. But I did not include them, so I apologize if that was an integral part of his lore. Oh, yes. And bringing the skin color to the neck as well. There we go. Okay, now fairly simple job right here. Just got to turn the coat gray. Alright. Oh, and the center area of that. And then these straps turn red. That's not quite the shade that I think it should be. Yes, it's very detailed, very difficult to draw. I think once again the natural shading of a drawing on paper with actual shadows cast onto it is changing the colors a bit too much. I'm just going to... Let's see. Can I once again try and get the brightest color of red? Just the brightest pixel. I don't think that was necessarily it. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but I set this up earlier, but chat should be appearing on screen still. I remember during my last stream I ran into an instance where I thought it was working, but it wasn't. And this time I did test it. Yes. So that's a big leap forwards. I'm getting more and more professional by the day. Let's just add a couple of zigzag patterns on here so that it can match with the original a bit better. I don't want to lose all detail. Oh, these zigzags are becoming more and more careless as I go along. Okay. And again, just the simple aspects are enough for now. Let's see, and I will do zigzags on the interior of this collar. Let's see, okay, it's actually more of a tooth pattern. Okay. Oh. I don't know why I was focusing so hard on that. Just needed a bit more focus than normal, I suppose. I was continuously drawing one thing at a time, so I suppose that's the reason. Alright, what else? Let's see. Should really have more things to talk about, but unfortunately most of the stuff that I've done recently has been fairly private. I did recently inform my mother that I have started VTubing, so that was an interesting experience. She is a history in business, so she gave me advice about how to be a bit more professional about things, and how to market effectively. So that was an interesting experience. She is largely aware of the internet community and the landscape therein, so she understands that what type of a thing I am doing. Let's see. It's very interesting how the colors are working here. It's a bunch of very light colors. Yeah, she's generally fairly supportive of what I do. Always has been. She's a very progressive person. Very experimental in a lot of the things she does as well. She is left, oh, I suppose this is fairly relevant to what I'm doing now, but she has left fairly stable jobs in order to pursue passions before. So, it's not entirely surprising that she would be supportive of my streaming activities. So, let's see. The legs themselves do also appear to be a fairly dark color. Darker than the arms and everything else. That seems a bit too much, honestly. It's barely even red. Okay, I wonder, can I modify? Yeah, I just want to bring up the red a little bit in this. There we go, that looks a lot better. I'm actually going to replace the color of the hands with that. And the tail can turn red. Same color. I think it would look better if it was even redder. There we go. So that it doesn't blend into the legs. It seems a similar thing happened with the official, or original rather. Alright, and the interior section of the tail. And there's a whole lot of... That's not right. I was expecting it to get a pinkish color. Okay. Once again, the shadows are darkening this to an extreme degree. So let's make it pinker. Let's see, that looks around the right RGB color for emulating the original. Nope, that's orange. Pinker. How about that? Maybe a bit too salmon. Messing with color sliders is actually fairly interesting. How about that? I think that's about as close as I'm going to get. Okay, so I'm actually going to want to go back and modify some colors in this case. Just bring out the reds a bit more. So I'm going to grab that, slide the red up. It's a bit more colorful. I feel maybe not as entirely accurate, but fairly good. And then the drawstrings are the same color as that, so I'll just fill those in like that. Alright. And there we have it, a fairly quick sketch of Zard Roka. Alright. And that's nearly the 2-hour mark, so I'm going to call it here. It's about the same length that I normally stream for, honestly, so I think I made out fairly well on this. But thanks for stopping by, Ray and Lulu. It was good to have some company during my art practice, and I'm glad I also got to test out the in-stream chat pop-ups. So, thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoy the rest of your days, however long you have in them. This is goodbye from me.